The storm tore through the village like a vengeful spirit, the wind howling with an anger that seemed to echo from the depth of the ocean itself. Amina, the daughter of the village healer, stood at the window of her family's hut, her hands gripping the wooden frame as she watched the chaos outside. Her heart pounded, not just from fear of the storm, but from the strange feeling that had been haunting her for days. A pull, a whisper, as if the ocean was calling her name. Amina! Her mother's voice snapped her out of her trance. Mama Amina stood by the fire, her hands trembling as she stirred a pot of herbs. Leave the windows! This is no ordinary storm. The spirits are angry. Amina turned to her mother, her voice steady despite the fear in her chest. Why would the spirit be angry, Mama? We have done nothing to offend them. Mama Amina's eyes darkened as she muttered a prayer under her breath. The spirits do not need a reason, child. They are not bound by the rules of men. But Amina couldn't shake the feeling that this storm was different, that it was trying to tell her something. As the storm began to wane, Amina heard it, a faint, desperate cry that pierced through the sound of the receding waves. It was not the cry of an animal or the wind, but something human. Her heart skipped a beat. She turned to her mother, who was now sitting by the fire, her eyes closed in exhaustion. Without a word, Amina grabbed her lantern and slipped out into the night. The beach was a mess of tangled nets, broken boats, and debris washed ashore. The air was heavy with salt and the lingering anger of the storm. Amina held up her lantern, the flickering light barely penetrating the darkness. And then she saw him. A figure lay sprawled on the sand, his body shimmering faintly in the moonlight. His skin bore strange glowing blue markings that seemed to pulse with life, like the veins of a living ocean. He was beautiful in a way that took her breath away, but there was something otherworldly about him that sent a shiver down her spine. Amina knelt beside him, her voice shaking. Are you alive? Can you hear me? Can you see me? The man groaned, his lips moving faintly. Water. Amina hesitated, looking back at the ocean. You have had enough water. Let me help you, Amina said, as she dragged the stranger to a secluded hut near the edge of the forest. Her heart racing with questions. Who was he? Where had he come from by this time of the night? And what were those markings on his skin? He didn't wake for 2 days. In that time, Amina tended to his wounds. Her curiosity growing with each moment, she noticed that his skin seemed to shimmer more brightly at night, and his breathing synchronized with the rhythm of the waves. When he finally opened his eyes, they were the color of the ocean after a storm, deep, endless, and filled with secrets. Where am I? He asked, his voice hoarse but steady. In my village, Amina replied, handing him a bowl of water. I found you on the beach. Who are you? Where did you come from? He took a sip, his movement slow and deliberate. My name is Ifedayo. That's not a name I have heard before, Amina said, her eyes narrowing slightly. He smiled faintly, though it didn't reach his eyes. I am not from here. I do not belong here. His answer was vague, but Amina didn't press further. Something about him told her he wasn't ready to share his truth yet. Days turned into weeks, and Ifedayo's strength returned. He helped Amina with her chores, carrying firewood and fetching water, though his eyes often lingered on the ocean with a longing that Amina couldn't understand. Amina's mother inquired from Amina about who the young man she is always with, who he really was. But Amina lied and told her mother that Ifedayo was from a neighboring village and has come to their village to live for a while. Ifedayo and Amina spent evenings by the fire, sharing stories. Amina spoke of her life in the village and her mother's teachings and the simple joys of their community. Ifedayo, in turn, described places she could only dream of, vast underwater kingdoms, shimmering palaces of coral and pearl. His words painted vivid pictures in her mind, but she noticed how he always spoke in past tense, as though those places no longer belonged to him. One night, under the full moon, Ifedayo turned to her, his gaze serious. "Amina, do you believe in the ocean spirit you people speak of?" She hesitated. "I have heard the stories though, but I have never seen them myself." He nodded his head as if he had expected her answers. "What if I told you those spirits are real? That they watch over these waters, and that their wrath is not just a story to frighten children?" She smiled faintly. "Then I will say you are quite the storyteller." His expression darkened, and he looked away. "There are truths you are not ready to hear yet." The revelation came on a quiet evening. The air was still, and the ocean seemed to hold its breath. Ifedayo stood at the edge of the water, staring out at the horizon. His heart was in conflict because he has fallen in love with Amina, the girl who had saved his life. Amina approached him, sensing the weight of something unspoken. "What is it, Ifedayo? You have been distant lately." He turned to her, his face shadowed by a sorrow she couldn't fathom. "I cannot stay here, Amina. My presence will put you and your village in danger." Her heart clenched. "What do you mean, Dayo?" He hesitated before stepping into the moonlight, where the blue markings on his skin glowed brighter than ever. "I am not what you think I am. I am a prince of the ocean kingdom, cursed to walk the land of the living for defying my people." She stared at him, her mind reeling in confusion and shock. "Defying them? How? I fell in love with a human once, years ago. It is forbidden among my kind. For my disobedience, I was banished to the shores, condemned to wander until the ocean deems me worthy to return home. And now, my heart is beginning to beat for another human again." Amina was confused. Another human? And who could that be? Amina asked with a tinge of jealousy in her voice. "It is you, Amina. My heart is beginning to beat for you again." Tears filled her eyes. "And now, what happens now? Are you going to leave me?" "I don't know," he whispered, "but I cannot let you suffer for my mistakes." But Amina hugged him tightly and whispered to his ears, "I love you too. I love you so much, Ife." Ifedayo pulled her to his arms and kissed her lips passionately. As shivers ran through his body, the warmth of her lips, the passion in her eyes, melting the very fibre of his being. He gently lay her down at the river shores and hungrily explored every part of her body. She moaned softly under the moonlight, and it sent current through his body as he let out a soft groan. "I love you too, Amina, so much," he whispered as they swim in ecstasy. Life in the village grew uneasy as rumors began to spread. The fishermen complained of fewer catches, the elders whispered of bad omens, and all signs seemed to point to the sea discontent. Amina felt the weight of it all as she moved through the village market, noticing the wary glances cast her way. Unbeknownst to her, the village chief Eze had been watching. He had always admired Amina's beauty and strength, but resented her aloofness towards his advances. Numerous times he had asked Amina to be his lover, but Amina had turned him down. When he heard rumors of the mysterious man living near the forest, he saw an opportunity to win her over, or so he thought. Late one evening, he approached Amina's mother, his voice dripping with feigned concern. "Mama Amina, have you noticed the strange things happening lately? The sea is angry, and the people are uneasy. And I heard Amina spent her night wondering, perhaps she has meddled with someone she should not, or she had meddled where she should not." Mama Amina dismissed him with a wave of her hand. "My daughter is no fool, Chief Eze. Focus on leading your people and not spreading gossips like market women." But his words planted seeds of doubt. That night, Mama Amina confronted her daughter. "Tell me the truth, child. Have you been to the water? Have you invited something into our lives that does not belong here?" Amina hesitated, the truth burning on her tongue. "No, Mama. I have done nothing to harm this village." But her eyes betrayed her. Despite the growing tension in the village, Amina found solace in her time with Ifedayo. He seemed more at ease now that his secret was revealed, though she could sense the sadness that lingered in his heart. One evening, they sat by the fire, the soft crackling filling the silence between them. "Ifedayo," Amina began, "why did you fall in love with a human before?" He smiled faintly. "Because she reminded me of something I had forgotten. That even in a world of rules and duty, love is worth the risk." Her chest tightened. "And me, what am I to you?" He met her gaze, his eyes brimming with emotions. "You are the reason I believe in second chances, Amina. The one who has captured my very soul." "But Amina, love is not enough to change the laws of my people. I tried it once, and they banished me, cursing who and wherever I come across." She reached for his hands. "Then let's make our own laws. Let's prove to them that love conquers all." The chief's jealousy reached its boiling point when he spotted Amina and Ifedayo walking along the forest edge. Hidden among the trees, he watched them laugh together, their connection undeniable. He watched as Ifedayo pulled Amina close and kissed her lips. Consumed by anger, "If I can't have her, nobody will," he muttered. Eze returned to the village and called for a meeting of the elders. "The ocean spirits are angry because of a stranger in our midst," he declared. "He hides in the forest, a man who does not belong here. He must be the reason for our misfortune." The villagers murmured in agreement, fear clouding their judgments. "Bring him to me," the chief demanded. "We will offer him to the sea and restore balance to our village." That night, Amina heard the distant shout of villagers and the flicker of torch nearing her hut. Panic gripped her heart as she ran to Ifedayo. "They have found you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You have to go." He shook his head. "I won't leave you, Amina. Not like this. You are the peace that calms my stormy soul." But it was too late. The villagers burst into the hut, dragging Ifedayo out from the opening. "Stop!" Amina screamed, throwing herself between Ifedayo and the crowd. "He has done nothing wrong." Chief Eze stepped forward, his face twisted with anger and hate. "He is the reason the sea punishes us. If we don't offer him back, we will all suffer." "Ifedayo is not a curse," Amina cried. "He is a prince of the sea, and he has come to protect us, not harm us." The villagers hesitated hearing this, but Eze's voice rang out. "You see, she speaks like one of them now. She has betrayed us. She has betrayed the humans and sided with the waters." Desperate, Amina ignored him and turned to the ocean, her voice breaking. "Spirit of the sea, hear me. Take me instead. Spare my people and Ifedayo." The waves rose high, a towering wall of water that silenced the crowd. A deep, otherworldly voice echoed across the shore. "You dare offer yourself in place of a prince?" the spirit asked. "Yes," Amina replied, tears streaming down her face. "If it means saving the ones I love, I will do it." The ocean spirit paused, their voices softer now. "Your sacrifice moved us, child, but it is not you we seek. Ifedayo belongs to us, and his time among humans is over." Ifedayo turned to Amina, his eyes filled with sorrow. "I told you love comes with a price." She clung to him, her heart shattering. "Don't go, please. Don't leave me." He kissed her forehead, his voice breaking too. "You have shown me a love I thought I would lose forever. I will never forget you, Amina. You own my heart forever." The waves engulfed him, pulling him back into the depths. Amina fell to her knees and cried bitterly. Her poor heart was shattered in 1,000 pieces. She visited the ocean every day as she cried, calling for Ifedayo. Her mother often found her there, always gazing out at the horizon. "You still miss him," she said one day. Amina nodded her head. "I always will, Mama. I love him so much, Mama," Amina said as tears rolled down her face. Her mother watched her daughter helplessly, not knowing what to do in order to ease her pain. There is nothing she could do because love between the inhabitants of the ocean and that of the humans have been abolished long time ago. Generations before Amina's time, the humans and the ocean dwellers had lived in harmony. The village revered the ocean spirit, offering songs and dances to honor them, while the merfolk ensured the waters were plentiful and calm, and the fishes were bountiful for the humans. This peace lasted until a fateful incident shattered the trust between the two worlds. A young mermaid, Tiana, fell in love with a human warrior named Ekene. Against the warning of the ocean spirit, she ventured to the surface to be with him. At first, their love was celebrated as a bridge between the land and the sea. However, their union drew the jealousy of a powerful chief from Ekene's village. The chief, fearing that Tiana's influence would weaken his power over the people because she possesses supernatural powers, devised a plan. He accused her of casting spell on the village and on Ekene and demanded her capture. The villagers, swayed by their chief's lies, ambushed Tiana when she visited the shores to meet Ekene. Despite Ekene's plea, they bound her in an enchanted net and delivered her back to the ocean. The spirits, enraged by the betrayal, unleashed a great storm that destroyed the village and cursed its descendants to struggle with the sea. They decreed that love between their kind and humans are forbidden, for it could only lead to pain and destruction. Tiana's tragic death became a tale of warning passed down through the merfolk, while the humans buried the story in shame, twisting it into a cautionary tale of distrust. So truly, there is nothing Amina's mother can do to salvage the pain her daughter was passing through. Years had passed since Ifedayo was swept back into the depths of the ocean. And though life in the village had flourished, Amina's heart carried a quiet longing. She had become a beacon of hope and wisdom for her people, her healing touch sought by villagers far and wide. But no matter how full her days were, every evening she found herself drawn to the shore, listening to the waves as though they carry a secret only she could hear. One evening, under the light of a full moon, the ocean seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. Amina stood at the water edge as usual, her bare foot sinking into the cool sand. The waves were unusually gentle, lapping against the shore with a rhythm that sounded almost like a song. Suddenly, the water parted, and from its depths rose a figure Amina thought she would only see in dreams. It was Ifedayo. His shimmering markings glowed brighter than ever, and his eyes were filled with light that seemed to transcend this world. Amina gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Ifedayo, is it really you? He stepped onto the shore, his presence as regal as the first day she had met him. It is me, my love. I have returned as I promised. She ran to him, her tears mixing with the salty breeze. He caught her in his arms, holding her as though afraid she might vanish. How is this possible? She asked, her voice trembling. The spirit had seen the love we shared, Ifedayo explained, his voice deep and steady. They had watched your devotion and your selflessness. You offered everything for me, for your people, and for peace. They had chosen to honor our hearts. As they stood together on the shore, embracing each other, the ocean began to stir once more. The spirits rose from the water, their form ethereal and shimmering like liquid light. Their voices echoed, filling the air with an ancient melody. Amina of the land and Ifedayo of the sea, your love has breached the divide between our worlds. No longer shall humans and ocean dwellers live in fear of one another. From this day forth, we decree peace and unity. The spirits extended their blessing to the village, causing the waters to glow in a way that had never been seen before. The villagers who had gathered at the shore after seeing the strange light fell to their knees in awe. They listened as the spirit spoke of the harmony that now exists between the two worlds. You shall live as one, the spirit declared. The ocean will share its bounty, and the land will protect the waters. Ifedayo shall remain with Amina, a symbol of the bond between two worlds. The following days were filled with celebration. The villagers welcomed Ifedayo with open arms, their fears replaced by gratitude and wonder. He walked among them, his presence a reminder of the ocean's power and generosity. Amina and Ifedayo worked together to strengthen the bond between the land and the sea. The village prospered as the ocean spirit guided the fishermen to abundant catches, while the villagers vowed to protect the waters from harm. Under Ifedayo's leadership, the ocean kingdom also embraced the change. Male folk began to visit the village, bringing stories and treasures from the depths. The once divided worlds grew closer with each passing season, united by the love that had defied all odds. Years turned into decades, and Amina and Ifedayo's love remained as strong as ever. Together, they became legends, their story told by both humans and merfolk alike. On moonlight nights, they would walk along the shore, hand in hand, the waves whispering songs of their love. The village thrived, its people living in harmony with the sea, and the ocean spirits watched over them with pride. This tale became a beacon of hope, a reminder that love, when true and selfless, could heal even the deepest divides. And so, the prince and the healer lived out their days in joy and peace, their love as eternal as the tide that carried their story to every corner of the world.